I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. The part of my tax intake process I'm most excited for this year, engagement letters. Merriam-Webster defines the engagement letter as... I know, but I'm gonna tell you how this year your engagement letter can be the revenue generating, context setting, boundary creating, workflow lubricant that you've been looking for. Oh. This is the first in a series of videos where we're gonna look at intake workflows. Specifically, how to make them suck less. Make sure you're on the email newsletter. I'll link below to get each part of this series, because let's be real, that paper organizer, when Moses brought that thing down from the mountain, he wasn't planning on us still using it in the 2020s. So we're gonna talk best practices. Oh, we'll talk engagement letter tech. Oh, and if you make it clear to the end of a video about engagement letters, I'm gonna show you how your engagement letter will actually make your entire workflow more effective. I think we've all worked with that like spit in the hand handshake guy, right? Rick's good for it. Why do I need an engagement letter? Rick's good for what? What exactly are you doing for Rick? He might be good for it, but what about his weirdo nephew that he referred last week? So think of the engagement letter as how you set boundaries around what you're doing. Specifically, what it is, what it ain't, and what it could be. So you're preparing a tax return. We all know that, right? But are you also preparing that projection for next year? Are you providing estimate vouchers? Are you doing an intake call or meeting? All of these things impact what the client thinks they're getting from you. And perhaps more importantly, the amount of time it's gonna take you to deliver on that service. The engagement letter used to be your way to put a client in a box. This is my dog food and there is only one flavor. But these days you can give your client some control over exactly what you're gonna do for them. Foreshadowing. But step one is to use it to define what are you doing. Next is to tell them what you're not doing. When you give me that info a week before the deadline, I'm not filing your return. When you text me at all hours of the night when I'm hanging out with my homies, I'm not gonna respond. And I'm not auditing the information you're giving me. If you give me information that's wrong, you can bet that tax return is gonna be wrong too. This is where things get interesting. When you buy a computer, for example, is there just one computer you can buy? Or is there a version for each of us? The version with more RAM for generating those hardware intensive meme GIFs. One with a bigger graphics card because you're probably gonna go pro in that game you play when your kids are sleeping. And the version that comes in the color that perfectly encapsulates the snowflake you are. The truth is, nobody likes a single version of anything. Optionality is not only appreciated, it's a better way to capture value from the people that value a tax projection, for example. Now, how are you going to enable that optionality? Tech. Tech. Let's look at 3 pieces of engagement letter tech. PandaDoc. PandaDoc's kind of like the gold standard for a generic contract engagement letter sort of system. It's not specific for accountants, but it is a super mature product. It's gonna integrate with everything you can imagine. And if you're looking outside of the accountant ecosystem, it's probably your best bet. Build out all sorts of different templates. And honestly, when you go mainstream like this, you're gonna get products that probably have a little more polish than you're gonna get inside the accounting ecosystem. Now there's obvious downsides to that. It's not designed bespoke for you, but the upsides are gonna be super mature product, really good integrations, and generally pretty good flexibility. Go proposal, we're eating the accountant dog food now. So this is a tool designed from the ground up for accountants. They're recently acquired by Sage, so you can decide for yourself whether that's a good thing or not. But for me, I'm probably looking for a tool that's in industry. Engagement letters are a little unique. They're not quite like a contract. And I historically have appreciated the content that accountant-specific vendors have put out to make my life easier. So if you're looking at options inside the industry, this is a pretty good one. Pricing-wise, pretty darn reasonable if you're running any number of engagements through this. What was... Seems like there was a third... Just kidding. Practice. Ignition. This is the tool I'm hustling for my engagement letters. We've talked about PI quite a bit on this channel already, so I won't belabor the point. PI is gonna handle your proposals in a nice, visually appealing way. But this year they've also packed in a whole bunch of like workflow accelerators. You get a bunch with PI. And when we look at pricing on a tool like this that you use across all of your clients, this might be the cheapest bit of tech I use. Like it's a no-brainer. Stop putting things in Word docs. Just stop. Stop sending e-sign PDFs. I see you. It's not okay. There's no good reason not to. Just don't. Sorry about that. Now, how are engagement letters gonna make me more productive? Isn't it just like a CYA my liability insurance carrier makes me get? Let's go back to the computer analogy. When you buy a computer from Apple, do you send them an email explaining what you want? Dear sir or madam, I would like to purchase a computer that will run the following programs. Please build it soon as I will be out of the country next week and I'm trying to refinance my house. Thanks so much, Carl. No, that's weird. Apple says, here's the things we'll do for you, and it's up to the customer to fill in the gaps. If they didn't do that, your order's gonna hit the factory floor. Somebody's gonna take it because, well, that's their job to make the computer, and they'll probably put something together, but it's never really clear exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're building something from scratch because this request was one of one. It's not explicitly outlined exactly how what they want plugs into what you can do. The better approach? You get really explicit about the things you'll do for people. It's the only way to ensure they're going to happily pay you for your efforts. You define the thing you're going to do for them, have them agree to it up front, maybe even pay for it up front. And straight out of the gate, you know exactly what you need to do. Got a price-sensitive client? Great, we won't run a projection next year when your weirdo kid isn't a dependent anymore. Hiking prices on those pesky 1040 cheapskates? Better get that price in front of them before you do the work, not after. As your firm grows, the scope of what you're doing for your client, these specific expectations become all the more important. You want to give your clients a degree of flexibility. Some will want that intake meeting and some won't. But when everybody on your team understands the flavors that you offer, that's when the real magic starts to happen. Jim becomes tax planning guy. Tina coordinates intake meetings because you can't be bothered. When you've gotten explicit about the things you'll do, you can start building out the factory floor. And the moment your client signs that proposal, the machine starts working. Or, yeah, just have Rick come in. I'm sure he's good for it. Yeah, it'll be good. Yeah, Rick's a good guy. He sent us a bunch of clients. Oh, I gotta remember, he started mining cryptocurrency this year and a Roth IRA he set up in South Dakota. But it's all good. I was just building the same thing.